The Bible quiz for today is very simple. Who hated his only brother for receiving the God's blessing?
Esau.
So here we have Cain on the south side and Esau is the north side. Who hated his only brother for receiving their blessings.
Esau hated Jacob.
The blessings of God. Huh? Esau? You all sure? It's Esau? The Esau is whose brother? Jacob. See, you're amazing. I think you all can be a preacher someday.
No multiple choice.
Last Sunday, actually last weekend, I attended this a small conference for the Korean pastors serving the small churches around the nation. That was made by the Korean United Methodist Church in the Fort Lauderdale in Florida. I've never seen it before, and actually never seen the event like that. The church celebrated the 30th anniversary, and they could have a big party by inviting all the bishops and district the superintendents around and all the pastors, but they didn't do that. They didn't even have a cake. They didn't even have a big dishes like that. But they invited these 37 pastors and their families from all of the nations by paying their airfares and hotels and have all the expenses. And then they just cheered them up and then they blessed them to share their ministry together. I was there as a kind of associate advisor to those young pastors, but it was pretty wonderful and amazing experience. The church used to be a very small congregation like us, about 70 people, 60 to 70 people, until 8 years ago. And the church was not only a small church, but with a bad reputation. If you know about the Toms, the pastor eater. Have you heard about such a Toms? The church eat pastor up all the time. Whoever goes, they're just eaten by the congregation and they just expelled. But that church now have grown to 700 congregations, 700 people. So 70 to 700 people for 8 years. But their growth was not only about the numbers, but about the spirituality. Now the church support over 100 missionaries around the world. Of course, they supported their annual conference by paying their mission offering. But besides that, they do their own ministry as well. Church, the facility-wise, it's a little bigger than ours. Our building is about 10,000 square foot, and theirs is about just 12,000 square foot. So you know it's not real bigger than us, but the membership-wise, attendance-wise, the 10 times bigger than us. So imagine within this 10,000 square foot building, you see all these 700 people just traffic. Can you imagine? But that's what's happening every Sunday. And then they also, in the process of building the mission center of $600,000 value, not on their ground, but in Haiti, to help people in the country. And also they started an orphanage ministry in Haiti as well. And also they started this as the school in China and in all other countries as well. Amazing, amazing story. So I just had the dialogue with the senior pastor, who is my good friend. What's the key element for the church to grow like this? It's not only about the numbers, it's about the spirituality. And he said, it's probably the Saturday early morning prayer service. What is about that? Well, you see, you come and then you will see what I'm talking about. So I arrived there on Friday afternoon and had a very late meeting. And I just went to bed about midnight. And then got to wake up at 5 a.m. to attend the Saturday early morning prayer service at 6 o'clock. Was there. I was thinking about just the regular, the early morning prayer service, which is very helpful. People gather together and pray. But the first thing I saw was the young people prepared for the praise. Okay? So these young folks just trying to line up as a praise team. And then behind me, about 150 to 200 people gathered at 6 a.m. And they started praise about 20 to 30 minutes, about 20 minutes, and the preacher that delivered the sermon, the message, about 15 to 20 minutes, and then about 10 to 15 minutes more praise, and all people just gathered together and prayed for their church, pray for their pastor and missionaries, and pray for their own soul, and pray for the people that they need to reach out to save. 1 hour. So whole the Saturday early morning praise service lasts longer than 2 hours. I've never seen it before. And after the service, the pastor said, "So what do you feel?" I said, "I know what you mean. I know what you mean. The element for the church to grow was that the Saturday early morning prayer service. I know what he meant. Out of about 700 people, 200 people gathered together and prayed for the church for 2 hours. Can you imagine? Have you ever tried that? And then another the wonderful experience was that what happened while I was having the breakfast. After the early morning prayer service, they had a breakfast together. So I had the chance to sit with one of their lay persons. And in the middle of breakfast, this person said, "Oh, Pastor, I gotta go to open my business here." And so I just simply said, "Hey, then just have a blessed day and make a good business." And he just becomes so serious. "Yeah, I got to make more money." So I just thought that he had a lot of payment to make up. So I asked, "Why? You have a lot of debt to make a payment?" So he said, No. Why? And he said, "I have to make a lot of money to support the ministry of our church." He didn't say that I need to expand my house, I need to change my car, I need to pay for the tuition, I need to pay the tuition for my children. That's what he didn't say. What he said was, "I need to support missionaries that we support in China, in India. And I need to support the ministry of our church. So just for that, I have to work hard and make more money. I've never heard that kind of confession. And he meant it. So I asked Pastor, what did he talk about? And then the pastor said, about more than 50 families of their church, they gave the first day of their ministry, and the first day of their business income. Okay? They give their first day of their business income only to the missions. So I said, there's nothing. No, it's a big deal. Because it's a true story. One of they have a 700 congregation, so they have all kinds of different businesses. And one of these 50 families, they have the big and huge the businesses. They own big businesses. But one day, one month, these people, one family, they didn't have a good business. And the one day, they made $20,000 or $30,000 a day. It was a big business. I mean, a real big business. They made $20,000 or $30,000 for that day. And then they were so excited. And then the husband, the face just goes so ugly, so sad. And the wife asked why. And here the husband said, honey, this is March 1st. The first day of the month. We got to give all this money to church. $30,000. And they have made the good money through the month, through a few days, and that's the first day they made a good business. But that's the day that they just made their promise to God to support the missions for Haiti. They did. They did. They gave all those $30,000 to the missions. But you know what? Do you think they lost all their finances? No. Their business has grown amazing ways. We never understand how that could be possible, how those people could do that. We never understand. But when those people sacrificed their own portion for the bigger purpose, something amazing miracles happen. Not only in their life, but in their church, in the whole world. They were able to reach out to so many people around the world by doing that. I've never heard such a story. I've never witnessed to those kind of things. But that's what was going on in that church. What? No. And the pastor also told me about another church in Florida. It is not a Korean church. It is an Anglo church like us. The church was kind of a good size from the beginning, about 500 congregation. Now the church has grown to 5,000 people. This pastor my friends met the senior pastor of the 5,000 congregation church pastor and asked why. What's the key element, like me? Okay? And this pastor told him the amazing story. One day, this Korean lady attended that Anglo church, 500 congregation. Day after the Sunday, this lady visited the senior pastor and said, "Hey, pastor, my husband is American, so I need to attend your church. And I like to support your ministry, but I don't have much. I don't have money. I don't have ability to do something in physical ways. But I like to do something for you and your church. If you just let me, I like to come to church every morning and pray for the church." But nobody in that church, okay, opened the church in early morning, so the pastor gave her the key. The lady, this Korean lady, came to church every morning, 5:30 a.m. and prayed for the church by putting her hands on the pews. Okay? And then she kept her word. Every morning, 5:30 a.m., one Korean lady just prayed for the 500 congregation church. Imagine where it is. None of those 500 members came to church that early and prayed for the church. But that Korean lady did. Okay. What happened? The people started joining her. People started joining her. And the spirituality of the church just awakened and as grew. The church started growing by numbers, by spirit. Now the church has been transformed from 500 congregations to 5,000 people. And it's not only about the membership, I'm saying, what they do as a huge church. Okay? Those big churches, it's not only about numbers, it's about what they do as the community of faith. So many wonderful miracles have happened in those two churches. And today the Bible tells about the story that Jesus has fed over 5,000 people. And then I just found amazing the common sense in this story. So what the message we can find from this story of feeding 5,000 people, and then the key element that I have found from these two churches, there was common themes. There's common themes. That's what I'd like to share with you today. If you just look at the Bible, this is a famous story that everybody should know. Okay? The people love to hear the Jesus teaching, and they like to be touched by Jesus, to experience the healing miracle. So people gathered from all regions around Jesus. And the Bible said it's about more than 5,000 men. So it should be more than 5,000, probably more than 10,000. Because we count 5,000 men plus women plus children. And maybe slaves as well. Now Jesus wanted to feed them, so called Philip and asked, how much do we need and how can we allow to feed those people? The Philip here Philip the first saw the fact, okay? The people that they need to feed, the 5,000 people, more than 5,000 people, that the money they got, of course, right? So they could not make bread in the middle of nowhere, right? They need to buy with money. So the Philip first looked at the fact, and the fact said, impossible. Simple, right? How much do we need to feed more than 5,000 people? Huge. Lot of money, right? So Philip wisely said, the master, with 8 months of wages, okay? The money that we can make for 8 months of hard labor is not even enough to buy enough bread to feed those people. That's what the most congregations and most Christians do. When we come to the mission, when God calls us to mission or ministry, that's the first thing the most Christian churches do. We see the fact. This is what we like to do. This is what God wants us to do. But we see the fact. This is the number of people we have. This is the amount of money that we have. This is the lifestyle that we have enjoyed. Based on this fact, oh God, that is impossible. Miracles never happen. Whenever you just focus on the fact it is, Fact itself, miracles cannot happen. But here we see that Andrew, another disciple, brought this boy who had 5 loaves of bread and 2 small fishes. Andrew, I don't think that he had an idea. He knew what Jesus was going to do. Andrew just, out of no idea, he just found this boy and then just brought him to Jesus. I don't think Andrew found this boy by searching the resource for the miracle among the 5,000 people. It's about the key element is this boy. When they heard Jesus wanted to feed the people, all those people just look around. And this boy probably heard what Jesus said. I don't think it was the only. I don't think the one who had the lunch or dinner was not only this boy. Out of more than 5,000 people, there are probably more than 100 people who might have brought their own lunch out there. Okay. But the fact was, if I share this bread with others, then I could not feed myself. So they wanted to feed themselves first. So they were afraid of sharing their food. So they were all just shut their mouth, even if they had something in their pocket. But this boy, when he heard that Jesus wanted to feed the people, he just came out and approached to one of those disciples and said, "Hey, sir, I have these 5 loaves of bread and 2 small fishes. I don't know if this could be helpful, but I'm willing to share this. I would like to sacrifice my own food with other people." So that Andrew found this boy and he took the boy to Jesus. And the rest of the story you probably know. That Jesus, when he saw the boy and his food, that Jesus blessed the bread and blessed the fish. And then let the disciples distribute those food to other people. And what happened? After feeding those more than 5,000 people, and they collected more than 12 baskets of food. First, I don't think that Jesus blessed not only the bread and the fish. Jesus blessed them. It was not bread, but it was boy who was blessed and touched by Jesus on that day. Like the bread is fed of more than 5,000 people, I believe that this boy would bless more than 5,000 people around his life. That's a miracle. Do you know that that time the boy was not even considered as a human count? The little child was counted as nobody. Okay. There was a Pharisees, was respected as the leaders of their community. Sadducees, the teachers of the laws, businessmen, all kinds of people must be out there. But none of those people made the miracle for all those people. But this one boy, who was considered as nobody, had no ability, had no money, had no functions, whatever, stood there in the middle of an amazing miracle. Don't you think wonderful miracles? The feeding of more than 5,000 people with the 5 bread and 2 fishes? But it is nothing for Jesus. But miracle is not only about the feeding people. The miracle, what happened on this day is expanding of God's mercy to more than 10,000 people in that place. How could it be possible? An amazing miracle was possible because of sacrifice of this young boy. We all need to remember that. It's not about the 5 loaves of bread and 2 fishes. It's about His willingness and His love and His faith in Christ Jesus. Miracle initiated by somebody who is willing to sacrifice their own portion. Amen? If there was nobody who was willing to one's own portion, I don't think the miracle would happen. But Jesus wants to use you. Jesus doesn't see how much you have, how tall you are, how strong you are, how smart you are. But Jesus sees your heart, how much you love God, how much you're willing to sacrifice yourself for the kingdom of God. Many people may like to sacrifice their portion for something else. But here the Bible teaches us to sacrifice your life for the glory of God. So let the Holy Spirit use you for His amazing miracle. So what kind of miracle are we talking about here? We have heard so many miracles from the Bible. The healing miracles, restoration of the life, even the revive the dead. And many of us is seeking for the miracle of a healing. We pray for our sick families. We pray for the success of businesses. We pray for the miracle, something for our own life. Okay? Something wonderful things happen to us. But that's not real wonderful miracle that the Bible teaches us. The true miracle, a major miracle, is not something that happened to our own self. It's not something for our own sake. It is for the more people out there. The miracle that we learned today is that nobody can be a great blessing to thousands and thousands of people. That's a miracle. And that's a kind of miracle that God wants to make through us. Of course, we can experience the miracle of healing for my own self, for my own family. But do not stay in that very small miracle. Healing miracle is just very small, tiny miracle that we can experience. The true, amazing, huge, gigantic miracle is save the people around the world. The true miracle is extend the grace of God to the people who may not know God. The true miracle is